Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and we're sitting down to talk about Oblivion Remake ahead of what is going to be, in your life, the longest weekend of all time. Because on the other end of that weekend, Oblivion Remake's waiting for us. And I wish Bethesda just went totally out of pocket here and just dropped this game. What, like, hey, happy weekend. You have fun now, all right? We got your weekend plan set, but that is not what is happening. We have to wait until next week to be a little bit more patient, but with that, we get to answer a couple more questions heading into the release. First one is, well, hey, when during next week is it dropping? There's been a lot of rumors and speculation combined with a pretty decent amount of what I think might be misinformation that we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to clarify some of that. But another question has been, will all the DLC be included in this remaster/remake? I've been skeptical about it, but I'm also an Atlas fan, and I know how things go with Atlas, as I'll talk about later in the video. But my co-host of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, the throat coat goat himself, Lord Cognito, says otherwise, says all the DLC will be included. So we're going to talk about that and much more in today's video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just tuning into all the good stuff we got going on here and on Retro Rebound. It's been just a real fun time to be creating some content. So if you're new here, you're into what's going on with Bethesda, Elder Scrolls Fallout, dear God, we talk about everything at this point. Thank you for being here. Consider subscribing. Okay, so this is funny, but I just want to get this one off my chest. I still got people sometimes in my comment section, sometimes people on Twitter just tag me going like, slow your roll, Matt. I don't think this is real yet. And look, I admire a healthy dosage of skepticism. I think we all could use it. Certainly, I learned my lesson with that like a decade ago. I get all of that. But dear God, what reality are you living in? It's a real thing. And if you needed one more nudge, the inspect element trick that worked over on Virtuosa's site that led to the initial leak for Oblivion Remastered has now worked over on Bethesda.net, where you go over here, you can see Oblivion Remastered. There's a buy now tab that they're planning to have a function for on the website. It's almost like I think Oblivion Remaster is coming out soon. Okay, let's move on along here. The actual news. When is the release date for Oblivion Remake? I know many of you are much more patient than I, but we have Insider Gaming here who posts this headline: Oblivion Remaster release date accidentally leaked by Xbox support, and it's coming to Game Pass day one. Now, the latter part we already knew about when we saw like the Deluxe Edition leak and everything like that. We did see there was a Game Pass logo next to all the other brands that this game would be available on. However, we see here this Twitter user, Sir Raven, was communicating with Xbox support, and the reason there is a blue dot in the middle here for this image we're using is because this is a video, and they were providing proof like, hey, I've been communicating with them for a while. This is not doctored. This is, in fact, a real conversation I was having with Xbox support. And you see here, hey, I was told earlier that Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered would be available for cloud gaming, and he says the support chat, probably bot, as I'll talk about in a moment here, said that it's set to release April 21st, 2025. It's a confirmed day one launch title on Game Pass, which strongly suggests that it'll be available through Xbox Cloud Gaming. I don't think any of these chat bots are someone actually like parked at their computer typing away. There are people who like formerly worked at Xbox even sounding off going like, yeah, it's probably just AI. But where's the information coming from? Well, we talked about it a few weeks ago. Like Jeff Grubb just said that the week of the 21st is when Oblivion Remake would be dropping. He said, let's update on Oblivion and the shadow drop. Last week we said that we were talking about, oh yeah, it should shadow drop at any moment. I'll give the people a week now, the week of April 21st. Basically, last week of this month, next week, essentially, it should shadow drop then, which I think you know, other people have said, but I've gotten separate confirmation that that's going to be the case. So shadow drop last week of the month. I'm getting excited for this one. Now, since then, other people have tried to test out this chatbot. For example, Synth Potato, awesome dude. He tried it out and said, hey, I just got notified about the Oblivion Remaster that releases next week. And you see here, boom, it's going to include all the DLC according to this chatbot here. The original game, all of the DLCs for you to enjoy with enhanced visuals and gameplay improvements. Now, eagle-eyed Reddit users over on the Oblivion subreddit have caught something that can support this idea before we get into what my co-host said about DLC being included within the Oblivion Remaster. And that's this one right here, which, what a great snipe, by the way. They say, looks like we are getting Wizard's Tower and some of the smaller DLCs. And you see between the Imperial City there, right down the middle, that little point at the top of that mountain, could be the Wizard's Tower, which for those who don't know is basically quest line to player home DLC set in the mountains. And to round out this chatbot situation, there was an update over on Insider Gaming saying it seems like Xbox support has now fixed the issue and is replying to accounts asking about the remaster with a general reply to check back for an update on the official Xbox accounts. I'm just a touch skeptical of like a Monday release date. I feel like it's just a real random day, but I don't know. Sometimes we're seeing these big games just drop on Thursdays, and we used to be like a Tuesday, Friday industry. But now the industry is so big, I think even what day of the week you drop on is really important. But maybe it drops on a Monday. I just don't want to put too much stock into what we see here from chatbots, because on one front, it's possible they have access to a listing for a store page that's yet to go live. But if it's yet to go live, then I imagine it would be part of their, rules at work to not talk about things that aren't yet available, like things that aren't public information. I feel like that would be rule number one for the chat support. So I feel like it's AI scraping information that's online, because a lot of this has been reported before. But then again, we see this image here from the Oblivion subreddit, and then we do have my lovely co-host Lord Cognito, who did say something very interesting on Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. He said, I have it on good authority that all DLC is in the Oblivion remaster, which we were debating this on the show a bit, because I was sitting there like, I don't know if they're going to do it. Now, a lot of people have said, even in the comments of this thread, shout out to Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors, one of my favorite subreddits, but I love to see the love for my co-host there. It was awesome to see the throat coat jokes and just Defining Duke community showing up. It was a real melding of two of my favorite little pastimes. But nonetheless, I am scarred as an Atlas fan, right? So Atlas likes to piecemeal things. And one perfect example of that in the remake remaster category is Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 has so many different versions. You have base Persona 3, you have FES, you have portable, and the exciting thing about Persona 3 Reload, before we got confirmation of everything, was that this could have been what I called the ultimate trifecta. Like, let's pull elements from FemC in portable all the way to pulling in the answer from FES. But what they did was pretty much remade base P3, added in better gameplay, had some new story scenes, and then later in the year, they sold the answer to you for $30. People were not pleased about that, and it's one of the first times I've seen the community snap on Atlas a bit, who has a very diehard, loyal community. Like, we already know how it goes. Like, Metaphor just came out late last year. I'm going to buy Metaphor in another like 2 or 3 years when they do the Metaphor Royal Edition or the Golden Edition, whatever you call it, which has like extended story content and better balancing and new fighting mechanics, all that stuff. Like, we know it's going to happen. We've been trained for that sort of thing. But the reality is that in an industry that's more than happy to nickel and dime you all the way down the line, I feel like Bethesda, the originators of the Horse Armor DLC, would also... it would make sense, right? Like, hey, we're giving you a shadow drop of the entire Oblivion remaster. We'll see you later for Shivering Isles, especially because none of the screenshots that leaked were of the DLC. So even with my co-host, I'm still like I'm a little surprised, because I feel like if you're shadow dropping this thing, then you can at least lead a little bit of marketing to support the DLC later, because there is a different visual style to Shivering Isles compared to the base game of what you get for Oblivion. Like, the skies are totally different. The enemies, the lands, everything's different. And so I'm totally cool with it if that's the case, but just something about it, even with everyone around me saying like, oh, it's going to happen. Chatbots are saying it. My co-host is saying it. I'm just like, really? Like, they're going to just drop all of this? Like, I guess what I wrestle with a bit is, as a fan and as a consumer, I'm like, awesome. This is exactly what I want. But if you're a business, especially you're a business attached to Microsoft, I'm like, what is the rationale here? No marketing campaign, no build up, and you just drop it all at once? I mean, I had a friend I was just texting today as I record this video, and we're trying to organize a Sniper Elite Resistance co-op playthrough. And we were talking, and he's like, when do you want to play? I said, well, I'm reviewing something now, Oblivion soon, like maybe end of April. He's like, wait, Oblivion soon? And he's, I'd say, relatively tapped in enough where him missing that, I'm like, dude, I feel like Bethesda and Xbox, like, Bethesda got bit on a shadow drop with Hi-Fi Rush. It was a super hype moment, but the game sold, I thought, based on the numbers we saw from Alinea Analytics, well enough. But obviously, we don't know what the needed sales were compared to the budget that Hi-Fi Rush had. So this is just a really long way of me saying that, like, all the DLC would be fantastic. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it at all. But do I look at this and go, like, where's the business sense in that? And a lot of people have come to me and been like, well, Matty, you're the marketing campaign. People like you are the marketing campaign. I'm like, yes, within reason. Like, I'm not reaching some random dude who works at like FedEx and enjoys the occasional video game, and he played Oblivion about 20 years ago almost now, and he's like, oh yeah, that game, hey, that was awesome. Like, this is a game that I'm just so surprised isn't getting marketed. So I thought the plan might have been Shadow Drop Core Oblivion Remastered, and then you show up like in September and be like, hey, here's Shivering Isles. I don't know what the plan is. Again, I think a lot of this is going to make more sense when we play it, or it could just be like a really amazing moment for the community. Like, there is a reality that I was kind of stirring around in my head of Bethesda. You got to remember, you're coming off an ass slapping from Starfield. Even if I loved base game Starfield, I had a good time with it. They still got spanked all over the internet for that game. And then Shattered Space comes out, and I don't need to beat a dead horse. You know how I feel about Shattered Space. So the community's on a low. There is this galaxy brain theory I have of like, this is an easy win for them. This is like a Mass Effect Legendary Edition level win where BioWare, like, confidence was low. Legendary Edition came out. It just changed the vibe of the whole community. I do think there's a level of Bethesda just wanting the PR win here, and that is as strong of a win for the business when it comes to something like Elder Scrolls 6, you know, just changing the mindset, changing the approach, changing the demeanor of the community. Because, like, look, man, last time I was talking about Bethesda pre-Oblivion Remaster leaks, like, I enjoy talking about them. I enjoy their games a lot. But I'm also used to the comment section just of people being, like, very, very angry about everything Bethesda does. So it's been nice to see, as someone who talks a lot about Bethesda stuff, that, like, people are like, yeah, let's go. I'm excited for this. So not that you, by the way, have to be excited for everything. That is not what I'm implying at all. It's more like, okay, maybe this is part of the plan. Again, I'm just throwing ideas out there at this point, but all DLC being there is really exciting, provided it's true. I do trust my co-host, so that's what I'm going with. And if that's the case, man, you get Knights of the Nine, you get Shivering Isles, you get the Wizard's Tower, you get maybe even the horse armor. The question some people also had was, you looked at like the deluxe edition, and there's DLC included in that. Like, there's multiple versions of this game, so there's DLC with your DLC. It looks like just skins, but who knows what they're doing. Will this game have mods? Will this game have creations? Still just so much to be answered at this point in time. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be around to cover it all. If anything breaks over the weekend, you know, I'll be on top of it. I've already planned out, I've had a busy couple of weeks lately, but I've planned a real stay-at-home weekend here, just to man the fort, take care of some review stuff, take care of some development stuff, and just make sure I'm available and I'm around in case anything breaks for Oblivion Remake, because I am ready to hunker down. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you in today's video. Not much longer now. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.